Welcome back. Today we are looking at a Suffolk Zenith carburettor. So we're going to strip the carburettor today, give it a clean out and look at any adjustments we have got to do. As you can see, I've got a nice sit down job today. All I need now is a nice cup of tea. Sadly, that's not looking promising, so we're just going to settle with the seat and get stuck into the carburettor. So here we are. So the carburettor, we've got one on an engine at the moment. There's two ways of doing it. You can take it off from the engine itself. I would suggest, unless you've got to decoke it or strip it, just take it off from the manifold end here, which is quite easy. So it's two screws, one side there. You will obviously have the governor linkage connected, but that's very, very easy. So all you need to do here, undo those. The governor rod will be connected. It's a little dog leg, so you just twist it and then pull it off. You've got the carburettor off here. So this is a Suffolk Zenith carburettor. So it's got quite a lot of adjustments on it, like old carburettors, which is nice. So we've got low mixture, high mixture, and throttle. So what I would suggest you do is, the chances are the high and the low mixture are probably fairly right. So I would count them before you disturb them. You need to take them out completely to clean it. So the low, we're going to put, just count on low. So we're just going to literally screw it till it stops in. So we're tightening it. So half, so we've got about 3/4 on that. So we're just going to wind it out now. 3/4 and out. The main mixture has got a little cut out. So we're going to just twist it. Difficult to do with a screwdriver. So there we go. I've got about 1 on that. So back it out. Now we're going to take the top off. 2 screws holding it, and then we're going to expose the float. So I'm going to lay all the parts out, and then we can have a look at them. So float chamber, the float, slow running tube and gasket. Normally with these, it was a bit lucky on this one. Normally with these, this slow running tube is difficult to get out. You do need to take it out to clean it. So if you're very careful, quite often with something like some side cutters, you can just tease it out. Not too much pressure, you'll crush it and get it out. That needs to be cleaned. We can blow through all the holes and make sure it's all nice and clean. Ideally, if you've got an ultrasonic cleaning tank, then you would put it in there and give it a good bath. It will really clean it up well. We haven't, so we're going to do carburettor cleaner and compressed air. So we're going to squirt the carburettor cleaner. Little holes. There, we're going to blow them out. So that's the float chamber. Luckily with these carburettors, there's no nasty bits of rubber to blow and lose, so it's all fairly simple. What I did notice about this carburettor is it is very, very warm. That's the throttle shaft. Obviously it should open and close as it is, but what it has got is an awful lot of movement there. So I would say do check that, because if it is like that, what you will find is you will have a real job to get a nice stable tick over. and these Suffolks having centrifugal clutches, it is important to have a stable tick over. In this case, it's probably the shaft and the body that's worn. If I was going to reuse this, I would probably try and look for a second-hand top with a good body, but I'm not intending to. So anyway, so we're going to carry on with the cleaning and servicing. The float, you see that's the needle, and obviously when it rises with the fuel, it rises up and then blocks the fuel off. So there's a right and a wrong way. So that's the float. Obviously, as I say, you've checked the needle, made sure that it looks good, and it does there. So there's obviously a right and a wrong way to go in, so we're going to put it and locate it in the hole. So drop it down, slow running tube. We've cleaned that. It's always worth putting a wire brush hair through it, just to, because it must be clear that, so it is important. Goes in like that. Gasket, we would in this case normally put a new gasket on, it's a bit distorted. So the only thing you need to do is when you put it together, you just need to make sure that the seat and the needle obviously go together. So we're just going to carefully put it together, that's it. Quite often you can tell if you've got it right, it sounds about right. So put the 2 screws in, hold the body. That's up. So we're going to put the low mixture, so we're going to wind it in just till it stops. So we did, and then we're going to do 3/4 of a turn out. So there we are, half, 3/4, that should be about right. High mixture, so again we're going to screw that in all the way till it just stops. Sadly there's no full slot, so it's just got that mark, so we're going to go half, one, we're about there. So the carburettor is ready to go back on. Before you refit it, obviously make sure you do connect your governor rod. It's extremely difficult to do it once you've bolted it on, so you'd normally just connect your governor rod and then fit the carburettor to the manifold. Normally you put a new gasket in there as well, manifold gasket. Luckily, just about all of these parts are obtainable still. Good old eBay or online. And then finally, to service it, we would service the air filter. The air filter has a sponge, a clip that holds it in. That really wants replacing, but you can clean them if they're not too bad. But that looks like it's going to fall apart, so new bit of sponge in there really, and normally squeeze a little bit of clean engine oil into it. Back on. And your clip that holds it in. The air filters have got this rubber grommet. If yours is loose or it keeps falling off, you can just buy those grommets, which is quite nice, and refit it. But this one's fairly tight. Let's put that on. So there we go. So that is more or less ready to go with that. Well, while we're here, just very briefly, that's an earlier version of that Zenith. Still a Zenith carburettor, but it's got the earlier type banjo on it, but it's basically the same. Has an earlier air filter, that's serviceable as well. The only difference is it's got mesh in there, and it's round obviously, but that's just washable. Take it apart and wash it. So all being well, so if you've cleaned your carburettor, you've got a good spark, you've got compression, there's no reason why that shouldn't go. So on that note, I'm going to thank you for watching. Next week we are having the Old Lawnmower Club annual general meeting. So lots and lots of old lawnmowers. Sadly, I won't be able to post any videos next week, but the following week, something interesting. Suffolk export. I'm going to leave you in suspense, worth looking at. Hope you enjoyed the video, and see you in a couple of weeks.